Every year, Americans waste billions of dollars on the wrong credit card. Not because they're careless, not because they're bad with money, but because nobody ever sat down and actually showed them the math. Today, that changes. I ran every major premium card through a full Excel analysis, and what I found honestly shocked me. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to American Credit Guide, the channel where we skip the fluff and get straight to what actually matters for your wallet. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now because we break down credit cards, points, and money strategy in a way that actually makes sense for real people. Now, today's video, we're going full breakdown mode. Amex Platinum versus every other premium card out there. Gold, Sapphire Reserve, Venture X. All of it head-to-head inside an Excel spreadsheet so you can see exactly where your money goes and where it should go. No opinions without data, just numbers. Let's get into it. So let me just pull up this spreadsheet real quick because I've been sitting on this data for a while and honestly, it changes everything I thought I knew about premium credit cards. Okay, so here's the thing. Most people, and I mean most, are walking around with an Amex Platinum or a Chase Sapphire Reserve thinking they've got the best card in their wallet. And maybe they do. But maybe they're also leaving $200, $300, sometimes $400 on the table every single year without even realizing it. And that's not a small number. That's a flight. That's a hotel night. That's real money. So what I did was I built out this Excel sheet, nothing fancy, just rows and columns. The kind of thing that looks boring until you actually start filling it in, and I compared the Amex Platinum against basically every other major premium card out there. Chase, Sapphire Reserve, Capital One Venture X. CT Prestige is kleiner than Hecunul. 1# is greater than even the Amex Gold, which people always forget is technically a premium card too. And what came out of it? Yeah, we're going to get into that. But first, and wait. This part actually matters. You need to understand what premium even means in the credit card world, because the industry has done a really good job of making you feel like a higher annual fee equals a better card, and that's just not how it works at all. The Amex Platinum has a $695 annual fee. You already know that. What people don't always sit down and actually calculate is what you need to spend, where you need to spend it, and which benefits you'll realistically use to justify that number. Because there's a massive difference between benefits that exist on paper and benefits you'll actually touch in your life. Here's where it gets interesting. When I put the Amex Platinum's credits into the spreadsheet, the $240 digital entertainment credit, the $200 hotel credit, the $200 airline fee credit, the $189 clear credit, the $300 Equinox credit, all of it. The theoretical value on paper is somewhere around $1, 500 plus, which sounds incredible until you realize you have to use Equinox. You have to fly with one specific airline. You have to actually use Clear. And if your lifestyle doesn't line up with those very specific boxes, a chunk of that value just evaporates. Now, I'm not saying the Platinum is bad. I want to be really clear about that. For certain people, frequent flyers, business travelers, people who live at airports, it is genuinely one of the best cards ever made. The lounge access alone, between Centurion lounges, Priority Pass, Delta Sky Clubs, when you're flying Delta, that's a real, tangible benefit that you feel every single trip. I've sat in the Centurion Lounge at JFK, and I genuinely did not want to leave. The food is good. Its quiet is less than #0. 1# is greater than there's actual drinks, like real drinks. And it makes a 4-hour layover feel like something you can survive. But here's the twist that I didn't see coming when I started building this spreadsheet. The Capital One Venture X. which has a $395 annual fee, so literally $300 cheaper than the Platinum. Kept going toe-to-toe with it in almost every category I tracked, like it wasn't even close in some areas. The Venture X gives you a $300 annual travel credit through Capital One Travel, which basically wipes out a huge chunk of the fee immediately. Then there's 10,000 bonus miles every year on your anniversary, which is worth around $100 minimum. So if you do the math, and I did, I've got the formula right here in column G. Your effective annual fee on the Venture X is roughly -$5. You're technically getting paid to hold this card. How is that not the conversation everyone's having? And the lounge access on Venture X is no joke either. Capital One's been on a building spree with their lounges. The one in Dallas is legitimately beautiful. And you still get Priority Pass, which covers something like 300 lounges worldwide.
So now you're probably wondering, okay, so is the Venture X just better? Is this whole thing going to be a Capital One at ease? No, and this is exactly why the spreadsheet approach works better than just reading reviews. Because the answer completely depends on one thing: where you actually spend your money. Not where you wish you spent it. Not the theoretical version of you that takes 4 international trips a year. The real you with your actual spending categories. Here's what I mean. The Amex Gold $250 annual fee gives you 4x points on dining and 4x points at U.S. supermarkets. And in my spreadsheet, when I plugged in average American household spending data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, because yes, I went that deep, the Gold was generating more raw point value than the Platinum for the majority of people. Not all people, but most, because most people spend way more at restaurants and grocery stores than they do on flights and hotels. And that's a little uncomfortable to admit if you're a Platinum holder, isn't it? The Chase Sapphire Reserve is interesting because it plays a slightly different game. The 3x on travel and dining is solid, but the real value is in the transfer partners and the travel protections. Chase's travel insurance is genuinely better than Amex's in certain situations: trip delay, trip cancellation, primary rental car coverage. If you ever had a flight canceled and had to scramble for a hotel, you know exactly how much that stuff matters. I had a buddy who was stuck in Chicago because of a storm, and his reserve covered the hotel, the meals, the whole thing. Just clean, no drama. That's real money. But wait, here's something most people completely skip over when comparing these cards. The opportunity cost of your points. Not all points are equal, and not all redemptions are equal. Amex membership rewards, Chase Ultimate rewards, Capital One miles. They all transfer to airlines and hotels, but at different rates, with different sweet spots, and with different transfer partners. In my spreadsheet, I built out a tab 3 if you're following along, where I estimated point value based on realistic redemption patterns. Not the I transferred to ANA and flew first class to Tokyo for 75,000 points redemptions. Real ones. Business trips, family vacations, the stuff normal humans actually book. And what that showed me was that Chase Ultimate rewards, on average, tend to be slightly more flexible for the average American traveler. The Hyatt partnership alone is worth the card for a lot of people. Amex has more airline partners, which is great for international premium cabin stuff, but if you're mostly doing domestic trips or booking through hotel programs, Chase just moves cleaner. Now, here's where I want to slow down for a second because this is the part that actually changes the strategy. The one-card versus multi-card question. A lot of people think they need to pick one premium card and be loyal to it. And credit card companies obviously love that. But the people who are genuinely maximizing, like actually squeezing every dollar out of their spending, are almost never running just one card. They're running a stack. And I modeled out several combinations in the spreadsheet to see what the math looks like. The combination that kept performing strongest? Amex Gold plus Venture X. That's dining and groceries covered at 4x with the Gold, travel covered at 5x through Capital One Travel with the Venture X, lounge access from the Venture X side, and you're sitting at a combined annual fee of $640, which is less than the Platinum alone. And, in my model, based on average U.S. household spending, That two-card stack outperformed the solo platinum by around $400 to $600 in annual value. Every year, that's not a small difference. And look, the platinum still wins in specific scenarios. If you fly a ton and you love Centurion lounges, if you're an Equinox member already, if you use fine hotels and resorts regularly, the math tips back in its favor. Context matters. That's the whole point of building this out instead of just reading someone else's hot take. But here's what actually surprised me most when I went through all of this. It wasn't which card won. It was how many people are paying premium fees for mid-tier usage, that says. There are people paying $695 a year for a card they use for groceries and the occasional flight. And the Amex Gold plus a no-fee or low-fee travel card would serve them so much better, like dramatically better. But the Platinum has this cultural cash. People want to feel it when they put it down on a table. And I get that. The card is heavy, it's metal, it makes a sound. That's not nothing. But at the end of the day, your credit card strategy shouldn't be about how the card sounds when you put it on a restaurant table. It should be about the number in the cell at the bottom of your spreadsheet. So let me tell you what I'd actually recommend as a framework, not as a blanket prescription, but as a way to think through this for your own situation. Start with your top 2 spending categories, just those 2. Figure out which card gives you the best return on those. That's your anchor card. Then look at your travel habits. Do you fly enough to care about lounges? Are you loyal to one airline or hotel chain, or do you like flexibility? That'll tell you whether a card like the Venture X or the Sapphire Reserve makes sense as your travel layer. And then, this is the step people skip, actually calculate your credit utilization of each benefit on any card you're considering. Not all of them, just the ones you'll use. Because the card with the highest potential value isn't always the card with the highest actual value for your life. And that gap, that space between potential and actual, that's exactly where credit card companies make their money. They're counting on you not doing the math. They're betting on the aspirational version of you, not the real one. So do the math. Build the spreadsheet. It doesn't have to be as detailed as mine. Honestly, mine got a little out of hand. I have like 14 tabs at this point. But even a basic version will tell you more than any marketing page ever will. And if you want the actual file, the one I've been referencing this whole time, I'll link it below. You can make a copy, plug in your own spending numbers, and see what actually works for you. Because that answer is different for everyone. That's the whole point. All right, guys, so that's the full breakdown. The spreadsheet doesn't lie, and now you've got the data to make a real decision instead of just guessing. If this video helped you out even a little bit, do me a favor and smash that like button. It seriously helps this channel more than you know. And if you're not subscribed to American Credit Guide yet, what are you waiting for? Hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss when we drop new content. Got questions about your specific card situation? Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one and I'll try to get back to you. Share this video with someone who's still paying full price on the wrong premium card. You might save them hundreds of dollars. See you in the next one.